Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Fix This House. On today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how to put trim around your door. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. If you're new to the channel, please consider pressing the subscribe and notification bell so you can always be in tune on DIYs, how-to videos, and product reviews that I do within this channel. First thing I'm doing is I'm cutting a little piece of scrap wood. This is a 1/4 inch thick. This will be my main marker whenever I'm marking at the edges of the door frame. This will let me know where to put my trim, where to stop on the edge of the trim. So I'm doing it from on the top on each edge, as you can see right here. So we know where to place our trim and where to stop. We are not going to go flush with the door frame. We want to at least go a little bit. A 1/4 inch is just my rule of measurement. If you want to go an eighth of an inch or a 1/4 inch or half of an inch, it's totally up to you. Just as long as you leave a little space and don't flush it with each corner. Now I'm measuring the length of first piece of trim. So I measure right here. I'm measuring where on the top of that line that I measured, it is measuring up to 82 inches. Now I'm getting my brand new fresh piece of trim. As you can see, I don't know if this is the colonial or French style. I don't know what really the type is, but I'm measuring 82 inches right there in the mark, and I'm putting a little faded line of the angle that I'm going. You're going to be cutting 45 degrees on the angle as you see here. This is just my tip and trick to know which direction that I'll be cutting in, just so I don't confuse myself. The tool that I'll be using to cut this piece is my miter saw by Craftsman. Again, all the tools that I use in this video, I'll leave on the link down below. If you don't have a miter saw, you can also use a box saw right here. This is a box miter saw. It comes with the saw. I'll also leave that on the description down below. But make sure that if you do have a miter saw, make sure the top part is zeroed out, as you can see right there. And if you go on the bottom, you can either place it on either side, left or right, on a 45-degree angle. Make sure that your arrow is pointing on exactly on the 45, because a little bit shy off that or a little bit too more of that will definitely make a big difference and will make a gap on whenever you try to fit your two pieces. It will not flush correctly. This one is a special miter saw that I like by Craftsman. They added this laser leveler, so you know exactly where it's pointing. As you can see, the direction is where I marked my pencil, so I know for sure that that's the direction I want. Again, that's just a little notes for me to put there, so it's totally up to you. Once you put this down, the laser turns solid, which I really love that feature. Now make your cut. That's our very first cut right there, nice and clean, as you see. Now the tools that I'll be using to nail this down is, first of all, I have this pancake air compressor. So this is a really nice air compressor that I use on little jobs like these, and also a brad nailer. I made the Tack Life brad nailer video. I'll leave it on the description on the right side, so if you're interested on that video review that I did on this brad nailer, please click on that link. But this is awesome. I really like this. It is very reliable. I'm using here are 2-inch brad nails. So let's go and hook this up. I'm using my 1/4 inch hose, air hose, and then plug it in. And then we're gonna start with the one end first. So like we see, line up the edge of your trim to that line, and then use your brad nailer, boom, right there, and do it at the top, and then work your way up. Now I'm nailing about every 12 inches. Totally up to you. This is just my rule of thumb for myself, but if you want to add more, feel free to do so. Now I'm doing the top portion of the trim. Again, make sure that you differentiate which one's the top or the bottom. Don't get it mixed up, because you'll probably end up wasting a lot of material if you don't, because it did happen to me and I'm confused the top and the bottom. Now we're putting at the 45-degree angle. Again, to reduce waste, you want to go as mostly at the edge as possible to start your first angle, and then cut that part. And again, we're gonna go and put it on the 45-degree mark. Make sure that it's the opposite way that it's going, and mark it with your pencil, the measurement that you're gonna cut. As you can see, that the level laser is right on that measurement that I put, right on that edge. Now make your cut with your miter saw. Now you can see that one's pointing on the other way, the other's pointing on the other way in 45-degree angle. And again, we're to differentiate the bottom and the top. Make sure you know which side is which. There you go, nice and flush. Make sure that you move it around, make sure it is nice and tight. Use your brad nailer to staple that down. Again, start with one edge, then staple the other edge, and then continue stapling the rest. Again, staple as needed. You don't want to overdo it though, because it will definitely look way too tacky if you do have a lot of nails on this. So do as minimal as possible. And again, these edges, I'll show you how I'm going to close this up with some caulking later on. Now we're going to do the last piece. Again, as you've noticed that I didn't measure 82 inches on both sides. I measure always each side independently because you don't know what's the length. Both lengths are not the same. As you can see, my last length was 82 inches. This one is 81 3/4 inch. So that's a quarter inch less than the other side. So make sure that you work in series and not just cutting not assuming that everything is the same size. I hope you understand what I mean by that. So there you have it. Mark it where you want it again. Make that cut nice and clean, and then we're gonna butt it up to the last piece right there. Mark it to the edge. Use your brad nailer end to end, and then we are gonna go 12 inches apart. Again, you can use more, but I would suggest that you do less as possible. But I'm just going to be using it to tack down. This is actually going to be hidden behind the door, this left side. But overall, there you have it. So simple, touching the floor, and we are left with these little tiny gaps right there, which we'll be using caulking. Again, the nails do leave these tiny holes. You can choose to fill that in with caulking or a little bit tiny of spackler paint. But let's go and I'll show you how to do that with this caulking gun right there. And then we're just gonna dab off and take off any excess. So there you have it, friend. That's how you install trim, casing, or molding, whichever you want to call it. They're all the same terms. Stay tuned because I'll be showing you next video on how I installed my baseboards and the tips and tricks on that. Really cool stuff that I want to show you to make it nice and flush and fit, just like what you see here right there. So stay tuned for that video. So stay tuned for any tips and tricks on how to fill those holes and to paint them. It should be easy, very straightforward, but this main video is just to show you how to cut out for a door trim. Okay, so very easy, you can do it. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys.